welcome to episode 948 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. I am your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
Hello.
How you doing there, sir?
Pretty good. I had a really good weekend.
Nice. What was good about it? Tell us.
Well, Friday and Saturday was my youngest daughter's first volleyball tournament of the season.
Oh, excellent.
And they went through most of this team. It's not exactly the same team, but they went through all of this last season. They got one win the whole season. They struggled to even win a set. And this weekend, they finished first in the round robin, and they got all the way to the finals, and they made a comeback and just about grabbed gold. They ended up losing by like 3 points.
Oh,
so it was pretty great to watch. They've all really improved. They've worked really hard. So that's
great.
That was excellent. And then the other thing, this is a bit of a story though, but the other thing that I got to do this weekend. So my dad and my uncle really big into race cars. They were, my uncle's a Hall of Famer up here in Canada. And he started racing because of my dad. My dad was his older brother. And they started racing in the 70s. So my father was racing. When I was born, he was still driving. Anyway, racing was like everything to our family and everything to my father. I'm pretty sure he loved racing more than he loved his children, but he was a really good dad. He loved his grandchildren more than racing, but I think that was the only thing. But anyway, back in like 2010, they found not his first race car, his second race car, which was also my uncle's first race car, a 1967 Chevelle, in a field somewhere here in Nova Scotia, all rusted out. And a friend of the family decided that he wanted to do a restoration project. So they restored that vehicle. And they sort of began a whole campaign called Heart of the Champion here in Nova Scotia. So they restored that vintage car and showed it off at a local short track. And my dad was part of that whole process. And thankfully, it got finished before he passed away. It got finished in 2017. And so actually, at his funeral, this car was parked out front of the memorial service with his name on it, which he would have loved. That's
amazing.
Because he just loved racing so much. And the other thing that when I was growing up and we were going every weekend, like my dad and my uncle were fierce competitors and were pretty successful, but they were also very much all about helping out their competitors. Like if somebody needed parts or an engine change or whatever, we had the resources to help them, then our race team always would. So anyway, I know this is a long story, but it is going somewhere. So the guy who led the restoration of that vehicle, I think they've restored one other vintage stock car since then, and realized there was a lot of interest for a vintage racing series here. So now there's a racing series around here called the Hot Rod Classics, which is anybody can build a car. There's certain specs, but they're supposed to be replicas of vintage cars from like 1985 or earlier. And it's all like a fun series. Like they go out, they do race, but like there's no intentional contact. They don't keep season points and all that stuff. Like nobody wins the season or anything like that. Like when they finish a race, the top 3 drivers get trophies, but then they give those trophies to some of the kids in the crowd. Like they let the kids down onto the track and they give them the trophies out. And everything they do for the IWK, which is the same hospital that I raise funds for through Extra Life. So anyway, this started last year and I didn't get to go, but this year I did. They had their banquet last night and they give out a bunch of awards, like sportsmanship and, every driver gets sort of an award for being part of the season. But then they give out one major award every year, which is they call the Heart of a Champion, which is sort of kind of like the same thing that I was just talking about, like a tough competitor, but somebody who's sort of trying to, believes in the whole rising tide phenomenon, lifts all boats and everything. And that award's named after my dad. So it's the Jim Stewart Memorial Trophy.
Wow.
And so my son and I got to go out last night and present it at the banquet.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool. It was a little bit emotional, but it was really neat.
I love that.
So it's been a weekend. It's been a good weekend. I'm really happy. I wish my kids would go to bed right now, but it's been a good weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I had a pretty exciting weekend myself.
Did you really? Tell us all about it.
CJ was out of state. Is that?
I left the country and you felt a sigh of relief.
I got high and watched some cartoons. So, I've been doing some stuff too,
Sure.
some pretty important
work.
things in my community,
Yeah.
No, I just kind of lazed around this weekend. I've been,
Oh,
yeah, sorry. I don't have a big story.
no big story.
Everyone doesn't need to have a big story.
I have a story.
Oh, no, you have a story.
Yeah.
You left. CJ
Left the country.
so disgusted with the state of the nation, fled the country this week.
Fled the country. Fled north.
Fled.
Yeah.
Where'd you go, CJ?
We didn't want him.
I drove up to Vancouver.
Canada.
In Canada. Yeah. Not Vancouver, Washington, because there is a Vancouver, Washington. There is.
And they trick you because it's on the way to Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right.
So you might pull off at that exit. You might be like, oh, wow.
This isn't the right. Where's the border?
I'm here already.
I thought there was like a border crossing thing that I had to do.
Yeah, they make a big deal about that border crossing, but I didn't even notice it.
Yeah. Blinked.
Wow, you guys still use American dollars here, huh?
God.
No, I went up to Vancouver. So our good friend Mike is traveling. He had a work thing in Vancouver, and so he then was going to go from Vancouver to New Zealand and visit his sister, and had booked like a couple days just to hang out in Vancouver. And I was like, oh, hey, I'll drive up. I've never been to Vancouver. Let's see some Vancouver
won't drive
stuff.
a couple cities over to see me, but he will leave the country to hang out with Mike.
That's what I said.
True.
It's like CJ's never left the country to hang out with me.
Worth noting
that he did that once.
That's a very interesting thing to know.
Married, and then we canceled that anyway, so it didn't even count.
Yeah.
Wait, you canceled it? Well,
the marriage.
I guess. Well, yeah, the marriage, sure. The wedding went on. I was there for that.
Yeah.
But so I went up there to visit him, and also the city of Vancouver, which I had not seen before, and enjoyed the heck out of it. Went to a Toys R Us.
There you go.
We still have them.
It's still Toys R Us.
Yep. That's the thing about going all the way up there to Toys R Us. It's like you're excited to go. It's great. It's great to see it again.
I know. Such a
but also you go in and it's like it's Toys R Us.
I can leave now.
Well, I mean, you both are pushing 50 at this point. Well, Phil's not pushing 50 anymore. He's pulling 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did that. We drove from downtown Vancouver out to Burnaby to go to Toys R Us.
Electronic Arts?
There. No.
Because I'm pretty sure that's where Electronic Arts is too.
Are they? Well, maybe they are.
Pretty sure.
Didn't go see them though.
You should have looked up Victor Lucas while you were up there.
Oh shit!
Think of all the people you ignored just to hang out with Mike.
No,
I know.
Who even is
Mike?
Mike?
And I just hung out with him last July at Pestle Legends. So
that's what I'm saying.
But so the other thing, so Mike wanted to go to the Vancouver Aquarium as well, and to Stanley Park. And so we did that. The reason why he wanted to go to the Vancouver Aquarium, I was like, why do you want to go to the aquarium? That's just kind of a random thing.
You can see fish anywhere.
He's from Atlantic Canada. We have nothing but fish.
Exactly.
Exactly. Apparently.
There's an aquarium in Seattle, CJ. You could have saved a trip.
Mm-hmm. I know.
This visit sounds less and less impressive the longer it goes on.
Yeah. So there was a show, the television show in the late 80s, early 90s in Canada. They have a
particularly attractive fish there.
Called Danger Bay.
Danger Bay.
Do you know the show Danger Bay?
I do.
Greg?
I'm also about 30 years too young to ever have watched Danger Bay, but yes.
Oh, it was on in the 80s and early 90s.
No, but I mean,
right?
it was for old people.
Oh, it was for old.
And Mike, clearly.
I wasn't aware. it was on the Disney Channel in the US.
Oh, really?
It was where they
I've never heard of Danger Bay.
Danger Bay. And when my family got cable in the late 80s, I also watched Danger Bay.
Oh.
So we bonded over Danger Bay.
That was a 1986 Canadian drama.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. And then we went to the Vancouver Aquarium looking for Danger Bay merch, which was nowhere to be found.
The series has been off the air for 35 years.
I know. They would not have Danger Bay merch. I'm kidding.
I don't believe that.
I think you're
I'm
partially kidding.
But they did have credit card slips from 30 years ago that they had to use because their machines were down when I tried to buy a magnet.
Oh, well, there you go. So those were circa, Danger Bay.
Basically, Danger Bay.
You should hang on to that. That's pretty much Danger Bay merch at this point.
That's Danger Bay merch. I did get a magnet because, of course.
It says Danger Bay?
It does not say Danger Bay. No, it says Vancouver Aquarium.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, but we saw fish, jellyfish, and that was cool. And almost got crapped on by birds. That was also cool. A lot of things. And then ate a bunch of delicious food in Vancouver because there are a lot of really good places nearby where we were staying. I had a donair.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You had an approximation of a donair.
Well, you're right. It was an approximation. It was not as delectable as I had remembered.
If you don't get it in Nova Scotia, it's not a real donair.
But there were quite a few donair vendors.
Yeah.
Is this
in Vancouver?
Donair thing, is this kind of like people from New York claiming that getting pizza anywhere else doesn't count as pizza?
Because that's stupid. These are actual donairs are an actual Halifax Nova Scotia thing.
I think that's right.
Okay.
I'm sure they're fine, but
it was fine, but it was not as good as the Halifax Nova Scotia donair.
See, what I was going to say is as an actual Canadian, what Mike should have been talking to you about wasn't Danger Bay. It should have been the Beachcombers, which I believe was also based out of British Columbia in 1972.
Oh,
and that was a big show. I didn't watch it religiously, but it was one of those things that was just always on in reruns. Ran for 8 seasons.
Damn. So anyway, I had a good time in Vancouver and ate a lot of good food. Had a Belgian waffle at a sort of
also a fake. You weren't in Belgium.
No, I wasn't. A
whole different country.
Yeah,
it was very good. Very good. I had some roasted duck ravioli, which was really good.
I like duck.
Had like a bunch of really good stuff. Anyway, it was a good trip, and then it took me forever to drive back. Mike is like, "You're leaving at 10 a.m." I was like, "Yeah, I gotta get back," and then it took a freaking hour to get through the border.
Oh yeah, it'll do that.
I was like, really? What?
Oh yeah,
it took me like a half hour to get north, and then
why was that?
It took me an hour.
Were they checking everyone really closely, or?
Well,
first of all, I got into the slow lane with the
a couple times I've come back.
Border
it's
guard.
Been like an hour or an hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah. We don't. Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
Let me in on you in on a little secret.
Let's hear it.
About the US today.
Easy for you to say.
We don't much care for foreigners.
God.
I mean, that's what it is, right? I'm a citizen.
I think that was a subtitle of a Game Awards show I watched last week.
Oh, I hope you didn't watch that Game Awards show.
You back to the past.
Anyway, it took a long time to get back into the U.S.
Yeah.
For some reason. And then I got into the slow lane, which was even worse. So, yeah.
Well, that was dumb.
Did you get hassled at all by the Border Patrol?
No, I didn't. They wanted to see what was in my trunk.
They just all shot their 6-shooters into the air and he drove up.
They hassled me.
They made me pop my trunk. I was like, sure.
Yeah.
I got two magnets from Vancouver.
CJ's like, sure, I'll pop the trunk. I have all the drugs taped to my leg anyway.
Yeah.
Taped to my leg? You mean that's an option?
That's not where I'm keeping the condoms
stuffed up my
full of coke. You're gonna have to dig deeper than that, friend, to find.
I need a full body cavity search here. But anyway, yeah, pops the trunk. I don't know what he looked at. It was just my backpack.
Whatever's in your trunk.
My backpack and a bunch of grocery bags.
Well, there you go.
Reusable grocery bags.
Yeah.
And then did you buy anything? Two magnets that say Vancouver on them.
We got a nerd here.
But going into Canada, God, the border guard asked me my freaking life story.
Huh?
She's like, and what brings you to Canada? I'm like, visiting a friend. Whoa, what friend?
Yeah.
Where'd you meet this friend?
Oh, Mike, you say. Oh, Mike's a good fella.
Where you go? Where are you staying when you're up here?
They want to be sure you're coming back. Is the idea?
I guess
it's the same thing as taking a flight across the Canadian American border anyway. Is like if you try to take a flight that you don't have a return flight booked, they tend to give you a hard time.
Nah.
Well, I did plan to come back. I wasn't fleeing yet.
You don't really have a trustworthy faith, so
yeah. My boss is not White Tiger.
Clients.
Had a good time in good old Canada.
It sure doesn't sound like you went to that Toy Traders store.
We didn't go to Toy Traders. So here's the thing. We didn't go to Toy Traders.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be an hour drive away from where we were. Although then we went ahead and did a 45-minute drive.
Well, there you go.
What was the difference?
There you go.
Clearly good at planning.
We didn't go. I was like, oh, Phil recommends this toy place, but I'm probably not going to buy anything. And Mike was like, well, I'm not going to buy anything. Toys.
I mean, I didn't buy anything there. You don't go to Toy Traders to buy anything. You go there to look at it.
To ogle the toys?
Because it's a spectacle. Because that's the place that has all those giant dioramas all over the walls and hanging from the ceilings and stuff.
Oh. Well, we didn't go.
It's a spectacle. I'll tell you what, you would have been more entertained there than you were looking at jellyfish. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, possible. Well,
no, that's a guarantee.
What about
Laramie Loch?
Some stellar otters? They got the word stellar right in there.
Well, I suppose.
In the name.
Yeah, but Toy Traders has a
full-size frogs.
They have a full-size Ed 209. Dude. A full-size Ed 209 there, man.
Oh, well, that's cool. That would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Skipped out on that.
Well,
but enjoyed Vancouver. So thank you to the entire country of Canada for having me in their country for 2 days. And yeah, that's been my weekend. Yeah.
The whole country celebrated you showing up, CJ. So wait, you've never, this is the first time you've ever driven over the border? Like you must have driven over the border when you were a kid, like with your parents or something.
I don't think so. No, maybe we did, like from Detroit, like because we took a family vacation up to Detroit and then drove across the border.
I was going to say Detroit's not in Canada, but
then went. Duh.
But you went up north so you could drink younger, or
that's right. Yes. No, we went to some park in Canada and then came right back.
Because that was back when all you needed was a driver's license to get across the border.
Yeah, this is enough Canada for us. We're going back. Yeah, so I've been to wherever we were then.
Clearly left an impression.
Don't remember.
Ontario, somewhere in Ontario.
Halifax, Quebec City, Toronto, Vancouver.
But you've only driven across the border twice now.
Only driven twice. Yeah,
I've driven across the border so many times.
I see. They should
Real
give you an award.
That's right.
Big shot.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Forget it.
Shall we get into some news?
Did anything happen this week?
Anything happen? Yeah, there was an Xbox Developer Direct.
Oh yeah,
did you watch it?
I did.
What'd you think?
I was really impressed. Actually, I didn't watch it when it happened because I think it was like on Thursday night, wasn't it?
No,
it was through the day. But anyway, I was working when it was on, so I didn't get a chance to watch it while it was on. And then I didn't watch it that night because I was really busy with something. But then I was seeing, I mean, I was going to check it out eventually, but seeing all the buzz online that people were saying, like, you know, they're really excited about everything that they saw and made them really excited about games. I mean, they weren't all just Xbox games, I think, but you know, games on the Xbox. So anyway, I did manage to watch it earlier today, and I was really impressed. I can see why people were excited.
Of course, they kicked it off with Ninja Gaiden, 2 Ninja Gaiden announcements: Ninja Gaiden 4 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
There's a lot of Ninja Gaiden happening this year.
Yeah.
Plus, they released that 2D game as well.
Yeah,
retro thing. Yep. 2025, secretly the year of Ryu Hayabusa.
Well, they actually say the year of the ninja, don't they? In the trailer.
That's actually the year of the snake, I believe, this year.
Yeah, okay.
He's right.
But so new Ninja Gaiden and old Ninja Gaiden given it a fresh coat of paint with Unreal 5 and released. It was shadow dropped. So during the direct, that came out, available right now on Game Pass.
Yeah, it looked great. It's probably not something I'll play.
That's my feeling on it too. I'm not sure I'll play it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
even the new one. I'm not sure I'll play it.
Those games are really highly regarded, and I think for good reason. But they're definitely not the types of games that I like. And you know, Platinum games as well. Again, I get why people really dig them, and they are really good. But I never seem to really enjoy them very much. So
yeah,
but it does look
Ninja
great.
Gaiden 4 is developed by co-developed Koei Tecmo and Platinum Games.
Yeah, I never really got into the old new Ninja Gaiden games.
Yeah.
By which I mean the Team Ninja ones.
360
I love the old.
Those were like Itagaki games, were they not?
Yes.
Yeah. I played a fair bit of the first one, and it just, again, like you said, it's one of those games that a lot of people seem to love, but just didn't click with me.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was precision, right?
Precision,
like battle. The fights are like you need to be really precise and chain combos and things. Which, again, I think from everything I've heard, it's done really well.
Yeah,
there are way too many people who like those games to otherwise. But just not, that's not my kind of game. But this did look really good.
Yeah, but when I saw that Platinum was doing this, because I do enjoy the Platinum games.
Yeah,
so that definitely made me take notice. So I will definitely play.
You'll be able to play it on Game Pass.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's just it.
I'll try it out just for that reason. But like you, Greg, I am not really a fan of anything that Platinum has done. I know they have a lot of fans.
Yeah,
I just generally can't get into it.
Yeah.
I tried. Oh,
I don't get it.
Tried. Wonderful 101. I tried. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, Wonderful 101 is
Bayonetta. Tried.
See.
Nope.
I quite enjoy Bayonetta.
Yeah. Well, they also showed off South of Midnight from Compulsion Games.
That looked awesome. I think
it's one of those games.
CJ clearly didn't like it.
No.
I think it's one of those games that could go either way. I think it looks great. I think the voice acting's awesome. I think what could really stop it from being good is the frame rate thing. So they use a sort of stop motion thing.
Choice. Yeah.
It's a choice. So they have like cutscenes and stuff, some of the characters and things are stop motion, but some of it is not. And from watching the footage, I couldn't tell like what in world means this is going to be stop motion and this is not going to be stop motion, and what is just a frame rate hiccup and not like purposeful for the art style. And I couldn't tell. And I thought it looked bad.
Really interesting.
You like to put a question mark on that. Why
you're allowed not to like it.
To my eye, it just did not look good. Like the mix of some of this is going to look like stop motion, some of it isn't. It's as if the Lego movie, like some characters would run in stop motion and others wouldn't, and it would be very jarring to have that be the case, right? And it just didn't click with me. But everything else, like the graphics, the setting, all that looks great. Like I'm down with that, but I just don't know if the visuals are going to bother me too much. And also, I don't think the gameplay looks too terribly compelling. We'll see once it comes out.
Hell, you say
it could be great, but Compulsion Games, they did that. They did a game. Was it a launch game for PS4 or maybe it was on PS3? And then they did We Happy Few, and We Happy Few was another one of those games where it was like, it looks really good. I like the art style. I like everything that they're doing there. And then the game just like did not click. And then their first game also did not click for me. So I'm kind of wondering where this will fall.
I didn't really play We Happy Few, although my son is really into it now. He's playing it a lot. No, but for me, I could totally see the stop motion thing. I like the way it looks. I like the character designs. I really, really like the premise of it, and the whole like sort of deep South mystical lore kind of approach.
That's cool.
I think looks and sounds fantastic. If the music that they played during the direct in this section is what the music's going to sound like in that game, like it sounds gorgeous. So yeah, for me it was very much the premise really sold me on it, because it's not something we've seen over and over and over again, right? It's not a well-trodden path in video games. And I really was getting Kenna, remember that game?
Bridge of Spirits,
Bridge of Spirits. I was really getting that vibe. Yeah, and I loved that game.
It's a great game.
So it was, that was, I think for me, and I got that vibe almost immediately as they were showing it off. And I think that's what really grabbed me. And again, then it looks like a really fascinating atmosphere and premise and characters. And, it really spoke to me. I'm really excited about it.
Curious to see how it'll fare. I did pick it. So we're doing the fantasy critic thing on the Discord. I did counterpick South of Midnight because I don't think it'll review well. And because the previous two Compulsion games didn't hit with me at all. So we'll see how that goes.
Did they do, what was the one that, are you talking like, did they do the game that was like on the hard drive for the PlayStation launch? PS4? It's like a French border kind of. What the heck was that called?
It's called Contrast.
Contrast, right? I can see what you mean.
Yeah.
I tried to play. I played a bit of Contrast, and it was okay, but it wasn't great. And I haven't played a lot of We Happy Few, but actually, I will say the atmosphere in We Happy Few is great. It's very creative. It's very BioShock, ish.
Yeah.
But
which is why I wanted to like it.
Right, me too. And watching my son play it, it's a little rough around the edges, and a lot of fetch questy stuff going on there. So be interested to see what they do here. But it really, I don't know. Looking at that and looking at what they were showing here, there's a level of polish and creativity here that I don't think we saw in We Happy Few. At least, maybe that was just an amazing presentation. Who knows? Maybe they just edited it perfectly that it came off that way. But anyway, that's maybe out of the four that were shown, that's the one I'm most excited about.
Oh, wow.
Maybe the one that I am most excited about is Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
That's the one that's a very close second for me because it looks fantastic.
That one by Sandfall Interactive out of Montpellier, France. This is their first game.
That's Rayman's hometown, isn't it?
Rayman's hometown.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I've been to Montpellier.
Oh, well, la-di-da.
Look at this guy.
Yeah. It's basically like a JRPG style game, but with what I would say more realistic Western style graphics.
Yes.
But with the presentation style of an Atlas like Persona game, almost like very like different looking, very cool looking, like the interface
very
is
French
part of the I mean, it's great. It looks great. And everything they showed in that was awesome. Like they have realistic characters, and they showed some of the story bits. The characters seemed more believable than most JRPGs to me. And then they had like this big balloon character that they were talking about and showing off. And I was like, damn, like you can have French. A whimsical, very French character in a game like this and have it, feel like it fits. And I'm down with that. Plus they also said it's around 30 hours long, and it's also
really?
It's also like they're only charging like $50 for it. So I'm like, okay. So
did I miss that? Was that during the presentation or was that after?
It wasn't during. No, it was not during the presentation. I think it was like in interviews after.
Okay, because
I was maybe previous interviews.
I was talking to a friend about it today, and basically we were saying the same thing. It looks like a Persona game, but not made by a Japanese developer and not based in like Japan or in Tokyo or something. Which nothing wrong with that, but it's like it's sort of refreshing to see sort of like a different cultural take on what feels like the Persona style. But I did say like I'm super excited about it, but my biggest worry was they would come out and say it's like a 200-hour RPG, which means I just won't even look at it, right? But now you're saying like 30 hours, then I'm definitely. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they showed off. So they had different areas. They were talking about levels and whatnot, but they also showed a world map that you're walking around as characters. So it's like a JRPG, but not like the current open world JRPGs. That's not like the old style. It's the old style where you have huge characters walking around a world map.
That's what they wanted to invoke, right?
And it's great. No, I love it. I'm like, yes, this is exactly sort of the thing that I want. And I mean, I guess the great thing is that it's going to be on Game Pass, so I'll play it for sure. Right. But this is a multi-platform game anyway. I may end up buying it elsewhere if it reviews well, and if it reviews well, then I'll pick it up for sure. But
they just got to put Game Pass on PlayStation at this point.
What's that?
They just got to put Game Pass on PlayStation at this point.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Well, here's the thing with a game like Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I want to support it. I want to say yes, make more of this. Like I might try it on Game Pass. I'll give it like a 2-hour thing, but maybe I'll just buy it on Steam or PS5.
Yeah.
And support it. Support devs doing cool things. This is their first freaking game. We don't want it to be a flop, right? Looking this good. And then they showed off Doom: The Dark Ages, which unfortunately I cannot play because anything in the Doom id Tech engine gives me
that motion sickness.
Doom gets me. Yeah, Doom. Yeah. Does not have field of view options, so
well, maybe they do because they're touting how they've really. No. Oh, really? Because it seems like they were really going for like quality of life.
They said a couple things. They never said. I don't think they ever said field of view. They said like game speed,
but they haven't said it's not there at this point, right?
They haven't said it's not there, but I'm not expecting it to be there in the console versions. So just even based on
cynical
indie.
Negative Nancy over here. Jeez.
I know. I can't play it.
Faith. Goodness.
Okay, but what do you guys think of this Doom game?
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it looks good.
I didn't watch much of it because I couldn't watch the footage.
Oh my.
It's, I really liked how they were calling out with like Doom, was it 2016 was the one that was just called Doom?
Yes.
Yeah.
but now I forget the phrase they actually used, but they were comparing the 3 games, and I forget what they said they were trying to do with the first one, but with the second one, or with Doom Eternal, they wanted you to be like really acrobatic and jumping around and stuff like that. And in this one, they want you to play like a tank.
Right.
And which to me is kind of what Doom was, right? You just sort of running forward and just shooting things like crazy. And
I was not, as much as I love Doom 2016, I just couldn't click with Eternal. Yeah.
Yeah. I never really played it, but it was way more acrobatic than I think people were used to. Not that that's a bad thing, but I know that some people didn't like that. But yeah, I think this looks, it just looks like Doom. You're just this big hulking person with lots of guns. And I think the saw shield looks really fun.
Yeah.
It's called a saw shield, but and they want you to, they clearly, from showing the combat that they showed, they clearly want you to use it as sort of an alternate attack, and also to parry and block attacks. It looks really good. I will definitely be playing that.
All right, then. And I don't know if you saw, it looks like Phil Spencer has been doing another round of interviews because there's rumor that more Xbox games are going to come to multiple platforms. And he was asked about Switch 2 and said that Microsoft love Nintendo. So that my fingers are now crossed for Sea of Thieves on Switch 2, which I think they would probably do. It makes too much sense not to do it. You have Rare, which Nintendo fans love, on a Nintendo platform. What's not to love about that? I have to imagine they'll do it.
I've been saying it for years.
Yeah, and maybe they'll put out Halo on Switch 2. That'll be one of those Sonic 2 battle on the cover of Nintendo Power moments. When Halo comes to another platform, especially a Nintendo platform, will be a good one. I remember seeing that cover of Nintendo Power and just thinking, wow, if I went back 5 years and showed this cover to my past self, I'd be like, what has the future, what has brought us to this dark future for Sega?
Wow.
Yeah. Bright future for Nintendo, but Anyway, I put this on the list. So we had, what was that? The Kunio-kun collection, but now we're getting the Super Technos World, River City, and Technos Arcade Classics for PlayStation 5, Switch, and PC. You get 12 games. Largely, it seems like arcade games.
Some Super Nintendo as well, right?
Some Super Famicom too.
Super Famicom and arcade games. Actually, a lot of Super Famicom.
Yeah.
Like
River City Renegade, Kunio's Dodgeball Time. Come on, guys. Downtown River City Baseball Story. Play ball, Kunio. Kunio's Odin, the Coma Tribes, or the Comba Tribes.
Yeah, Comba Tribes. That's a weird way to say that.
The Comba Tribes? Is that?
I always thought it was
Combat
Tribes. Yeah.
Combat. Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's
See now.
Comba.
Sugordo Quest ++. Dice Nix. Okay. Yeah. Dun Quest, Super Dodgeball Arcade.
Say this one. Zane Slina.
Zane Slina. That sounds like an influencer name.
Zane Slina is my favorite character at Mos Eisley Cantina.
Is this TikTok model? Zane Slina. Soldier of Light, China Gate, the Combat Tribes, and Shadow Force. Yeah.
The arcade version of Combat Tribes.
The arcade version of Combat Tribes.
So you get the Super Famicom and the arcade one.
Yeah. So like the previous Kunio-kun was pretty much all Famicom, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is basically like the follow-up to that then, I'm guessing, right? It's basically like, hey, here's all the 16-bit stuff and the arcade stuff. And yeah, you know what? Cool. Kunio-kun games are great.
Although I think...
Are they doing English for some of these that were not previously English?
I believe... I don't know how many of them, if it's most, all, a lot. I don't think they're translating all of these.
Hey,
which they did do.
They did do it for the Kunio collection.
With the Famicom games.
Yeah. And that was fun.
Yeah.
To see those games translated. Yeah.
Because I did notice a lot of this game is only playable in Japanese warnings during that trailer.
Yeah. Well, localization is expensive.
I mean, they were able to localize
like use AI
20 friggin' Famicom games.
That's true.
But the Famicom games they translated, weren't they mostly just sports games? Like, I assume there wasn't a lot of work to be done on those.
I think there was still a fair amount in some of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of not translating games, we got some new NSO games, and that includes the Japanese exclusive release from Nintendo, Sutte Hakkun, a little puzzle platform game where you play this little penguin dude that is able to like suck up little like colored liquid that then inject it into platforms that will then go up, down, left, right, or do the action of that particular color. And it's a really fun puzzle platform game from Nintendo that never came out here, but it did get a release on the Super Famicom Nintendo Power System, which is where I first got my hands on Sutte Hakkun and had a lot of fun with it back in the day. I picked up one of those Super Famicom flash carts at Lawson, in a convenience store chain Lawson in Japan, and had 3 games. I had Wrecking Crew 98, Kirby Superstar Stacker, and Sutte Hakkun. And now all 3 of those games are available on NSO. I'm very pleased that this is the last game that I was waiting for. With my fingers crossed, it happened.
So they can get rid of that cartridge finally.
Well, it was gone anyway. It was burglarized.
Sorry. Didn't mean to bring up any painful memories.
Someone took care of that for him.
Yeah. Someone took care of that for me long time ago. But now the band is back together. I can play those anytime I want to, which is great. But we also got Fatal Fury 2 and Super Ninja Boy, which is a Culture Brain game, right? Super Ninja?
Yes.
It's a Culture Brain-ass Culture Brain.
That is the most Culture Brain you can get.
Yeah.
It's pretty Culture Brainy. I never played any of the Culture Brain games. All I remember is they're like,
you didn't miss much.
Spread ads in video game magazines about.
Yeah, they would do like
various,
6 or 7 page comics and
the
various games that I had absolutely no idea what was going on.
Some of my first experiences with manga were Culture Brain ads in GamePro magazine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boy, Sutte Hakkun.
Yeah.
You know, because they released it. It looks like they did like an actual Super Famicom release at some point over there.
They did. Yes, they did do an actual Super Famicom release along with Wrecking Crew 98 and Kirby Superstar Stacker. All of those actually they were debuted on the Nintendo Power System, but they did get actual final.
It's very expensive.
I'm not shocked by that.
I'm looking at.
Not shocked by that. It was one of the last. It's one of the last Super Famicom games. So
cart only is like 250 bones.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So
I should back that up. Culture Brain did the Baseball Simulator 1000 games. Those were good.
Okay.
I never played them. Yeah. All right. So speaking of digital libraries, the Video Game History Foundation is going to make its digital library available to the public.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This upcoming week, that means more than 1,500 out-of-print magazines will be viewable on the web.
Well, it's going to be more than just viewable, because the whole point of this
searchable.
Is right. Exactly. Is that it's searchable. That's the big thing, because honestly, most of these, well, I shouldn't say most, that's not fair, but a lot of the previous magazines have been viewable online for quite a long time, between archive.org and retro mags and stuff like that. But the exciting thing about this is that I'm sure they have much more obscure stuff, and that it's a searchable database. That's huge.
Yeah, I'm digging that.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
And I think actually in the latest EGM Compendium Kickstarter, they mentioned that they're working with with the video game history. I think that they provided some pristine copies of EGM that they needed, and of course,
that's cool.
They're because of the way the Kickstarter is going, they're doing like specials and stuff in the compendium site now too. So
nice, yeah.
But either way, this is awesome. Speaking as someone who spends way too much time sifting through scans of old magazines looking for information from on games from 35 years ago, this will be a game changer for sure. So I'm very, very happy that it's hitting.
Very, very nice. All right, let's do this one. Balatro, Greg's beloved Balatro.
Who the hell calls it Balatro?
Balatro.
What is with you tonight?
Balatro.
Keep putting the emphasis on the wrong syllables.
Have you played this Balatro?
The Balatro
again yesterday.
Balatro.
Balatro has sold over 5 million units.
5 million units.
Which
is that a really impressive number for? I don't know.
It's pretty impressive for an indie game.
Yeah, that's true. Made by one person. Local thunk.
That is very, very impressive.
Seriously, this game's so good.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's awesome.
It is. It
playing
is
it again
awesome.
yesterday.
It's a good.
I'm not
game.
addicted to it, but I
finished another deck.
I like it.
It's great.
Okay. All right. Ted Price, founder of Insomniac Games, president of Insomniac Games, is retiring. So he's going to be leaving the games industry in March. That's over 30 years after founding Insomniac. First game, Disruptor, I believe it was.
Oh, the old first-person shooter on the PS1.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Spyro the Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Those were fun games. I reviewed a couple of those.
Insomniac's made some good games over the years.
Ratchet and Clank.
Now, which one's that?
Marvel's Spider-Man.
Spiderman.
There you go.
Ratchet and Clank All for One. All for One remains the only bad game that Insomniac has made.
Yeah, that game was pretty bad.
Whoops.
Good for him. Enjoy your retirement. Thanks for all the great games.
Enjoy retirement. I wonder if that means that, because sometimes he hosts the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences podcast, the Game Maker's Toolkit or Game Maker's Notebook.
Yeah, I was going to say Game Maker's Toolkit is a different thing. Yeah.
Wait, All for One's the only bad game
that Insomniac has made?
Did you like Deadlocked?
I actually did like Deadlocked.
Oh, that's weird.
I know. It wasn't called Deadlocked. It was called Fuse.
What?
Oh, wait. Ratchet.
You're talking about two different games.
Shit. 2 different games. Deadlocked. Yeah, I like Deadlocked.
I forgot about
Fuse.
Yeah,
Fuse is a bad game
as well.
Fuse is good.
No, it's not.
You're right. It's not great.
Fuse was ambitious.
Fuse is very ambitious, and unfortunately,
I wouldn't call it good.
People did not want that game from Insomniac, and yeah, kind of Concord before its time. All right, Greg or Phil, who put this on the
Concord?
Who put this on the outline about Transformers Reactivate? You want to take us through this
Transformers game,
Phil?
You remember this game?
No, I was trying to remember this game when I saw you put this on here.
That's hilarious. I mean, I'm not surprised. A couple of years ago, let's see, December 2023. Or no, I'm sorry, December 2022 was when we got our first trailer of Transformers Reactivate, which, if you remember, think way back, was the trailer that you wouldn't know it was a Transformers game if it did not have the Transformers logo show up at the end. It was a first person view. The trailer, we saw a first person view of some humans trying to reactivate some sort of robot. It looked like those scenes in RoboCop when they were first fixing him, and you saw things from RoboCop's perspective.
Yeah, so you couldn't see what he looked like. So you couldn't see what RoboCop looked like.
Right. So you just saw these humans trying to fix what was clearly a robot, and you're getting like little flashbacks of the robot's memory, and you're seeing a kind of post-apocalyptic city with like alien swarms of little alien insects coming in and swarming and destroying the city. And then at the very end, they activate the robot, and it stands up, and you see that it's very, very tall, and you see the yellow hands come up into view.
I vaguely remember this.
And then the Transformers reactivate logo comes up, and you're like, oh, that's supposed to be Bumblebee. And it was supposed to be like some sort of first-person Transformer game.
Okay.
And so we saw this first trailer, which we are seeing now if you're watching it on the YouTube.
Game Awards.
So they've been working on it for a few years then.
They've been working on it for a few years. Apparently, they've also had been working on it for a couple of years before it was even announced. It went through a few iterations. Yeah. And then it kind of went into radio silence.
And now we know why.
And we didn't hear anything. Well, see, and here's the really bonkers thing. Because, we saw that, end of 2022, we got that first trailer. And then just kind of out of nowhere towards the end of 2023, after there had been like a solid year of no updates about the game whatsoever, Hasbro released a few toys based on the game.
I was going to say, didn't they get to the point where they released merch?
Yeah, there were two packs of figures released. There was a set that came with Optimus and Soundwave, and a set that came with Bumblebee and Starscream. And it has, the game logo right there on the packaging. It's these very, original kind of character designs for those characters that were presumably what we were going to see in the game. And then a few more months of just silence. And then a couple weeks ago, the studio that was developing the game, which
Splash
Damage, they officially announced that the game had been canceled and that people who had worked on it were laid off. Hooray. So, yeah. It's the part that gets me is that there were toys that that actually got released. So, clearly this was something that Hasbro had really kind of been putting some stock into.
Yeah.
They were very excited about it.
I want to say in the announcement from Splash Damage about what was happening, they called out that Hasbro was a good partner and
really
that they would. Yeah, because I did read that I did see that announcement come up on my feed today, and I think that it was something along those lines.
Yeah,
like it felt like they were trying to make sure it's like this wasn't Hasbro's doing or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
It was probably. I mean, they're owned by Tencent. Am I right about
yes.
Hasbro was an incredible and supportive partner throughout.
Yes, so, Splash Damage since December 2020.
Yeah,
they were owned by Tencent.
Yeah,
I'm getting this information off the Transformers wiki, by the way. Which is, I will say, if you need information about Transformers, the Transformers wiki is shockingly thorough.
Is it really all that shocking?
You know what? I guess what the shocking part is that it's actually quality. Because, a lot of those like fan wikis.
Those fake wikis are usually terrible.
Are pretty awful, but the Transformers one is actually really solid and very thorough in its informations.
Here's the thing to remember, though, about video game development.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to make a good game. It's hard to make a bad game. Video game development, making any game is so difficult.
And now that it's become a years-long endeavor with giant teams.
Yeah. It's even
sometimes it's just worse when it's decided it's not going to be profitable.
Yeah, you can't chase good money after bad. And if you're looking at a game where it's like it's a licensed game, is it going to make its money back?
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough. And it sucks reading this and layoffs. And, we read that games are getting canceled or companies are being shuttered. Developers are being shuttered. Like, it's awful.
Yeah.
hopefully,
Well, that sucks.
Everyone lands on their feet, and yeah, we get some good games to play. Hopefully, this isn't going to be a continuing thing. Who knows?
Yeah, Hasbro spent all that time and money engineering those figures and getting the tooling made up for the molds, which is very much not cheap. So I guess they figured, well, the writing's on the wall. We might as well crank out, send some plastic through those molds and get some toys on the shelves. Well, just to make
when did they release the toys? When did they release the toys?
The figures came out in November 2023.
I'm assuming they thought that's when the game was going to ship.
Oh, yeah.
Or right around there. Yeah. And it's like, well, we have all this stuff. Like, we can't delay the toys because now might as well have bought. Yeah. So,
yep.
That's a different thing. Yeah. But sad. I'm sad. Yep. Sad about it.
Yeah, it sucks.
All right. Should we get into what you've been playing?
Sure.
Phil, you want to kick us off?
Oh my gosh, do I?
What have you been playing, sir?
Well, I haven't been playing much extensively this week. I've been kind of busy this week, so I played a little bit of Ease, got through another dungeon, beat another boss in Oath of Felghana.
Yeah,
played a little bit of Donkey Kong, but not really enough to talk about it. Just a level or two. But I did get a new toy.
That's weird for you.
Well,
I mean, it has been 7 days.
Look right there. You see that big multicolored mess on my desk?
I do see it.
Look at this. I printed this.
Oh my God.
This is it's a marble run.
Wow.
I got marbles, and marbles go down all these multicolored tracks. And this, if I plug it in, this little conveyor belt elevator brings the marbles back up to start it all over again. I made this. I printed this.
That's cool.
I didn't make it. I printed it.
Have you ever watched the marble F1 races?
Oh,
yeah,
all the time.
The marble races
series. The marble races series. It's pretty great. Yeah.
That's what cool. Inspired me to print that thing up. I was like, this is just going to be my F1 races.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Greg. I'm sorry.
You should look it up.
Look up, marble races on YouTube. It's fun.
Okay. But the toy that I am actually talking about is I got a Steam Deck. I joined the world of Steam Deck owners.
Did you just meet Gabe in the cafeteria one day, and he just happened to have one he was giving away? Or
I tackled him. I saw him
tackle that man. He's a big guy.
I leaped onto his back, knocked it out of his hand, and ran off. No, I got a Steam Deck, and I have been going nuts. The Steam Deck's really good,
isn't it? Though,
yeah. I mean,
I used to get one. Mike stole it.
The OLED model's better than the non-OLED too, but it's great. The OLED model's even better than the non-OLED.
I got the OLED model. And
nice. Okay,
I figured it would be good.
Yeah,
but it's actually really good.
It's actually really good.
Really good.
Yeah, I like totally agree.
Steam Deck. So yeah, I was installing games and just kind of bouncing around, sort of sampling all sorts of different games just on the now on the Steam Deck.
Sure.
Playing a little Taiko no Tatsujin on there.
Nice. Okay.
What else have I been playing? Oh, speaking of Transformers games, I got I picked up Transformers Devastation. Speaking of Transformers and Platinum games, I was fortunate enough to purchase that game before it was delisted from Steam.
God.
And
Runs on Steam Deck.
Runs
Do you have to
perfectly
change
on Steam Deck.
Proton versions or anything like that?
What's that?
Did you have to change Proton versions or anything like that, or did it just run?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Some games you have to change the compatibility layer. Because
okay,
it's a Linux platform, right? So and none of the games are Linux games.
Right.
It's running via Proton, which is a compatibility layer.
I see.
On top.
I see.
And so sometimes with older games, especially, like you need to run a different compatibility layer to get it to run.
Okay.
So like Arkham City or Arkham, any of the Batman Arkham games, you probably have to change Proton version to get it to run. But usually you can find that information on Steam, like in the discussion threads.
Yeah.
Or I believe there's like Steam Deck HQ or in a couple sites that'll tell you like what layer you should use. There's also like Proton DB, I think. Will tell you what Proton version you should use.
Because I believe, if I remember correctly, when I was installing it, it pops up a message, like if it's not fully compatible or if it's like, oh, it's playable, but the text is really tiny.
Yeah.
It gave me one of those like, we don't know if this is compatible messages. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'll try it anyway. But it worked fine without any sort of tweaks or anything. So
cool. That's good.
Hooray.
Probably not many people trying that game on the Steam Deck.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how many people own that on Steam, but it's a fun. I mean, it's not one of Platinum's best. It's certainly B tier Platinum, but
yeah,
for a G1 Transformers nerd, it's a fun little game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just installing, playing all sorts of things. I pre-ordered Virtua Fighter 5. Which comes out, I think, tomorrow as we are recording this.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a re-release of VF5. So I picked that up because that'll be fun to play on the old Steam Deck. I played some more of Mini Shoot Adventures. Slowly getting my dual stick chops back.
That is a great Steam Deck game. I started and finished Mini Shoot Adventures on the Steam Deck.
Nice.
Yeah, great game for that.
I was definitely getting a little better at it as I was playing it on Steam Deck. And like you said, I was kind of realizing, this seems like a really good game to play on Steam Deck.
Someone's talking about the Sega console DLC.
Yeah, if you pre-order Virtua Fighter 5, you get I don't know, they're like items for you to customize your character or whatever, but you can get as like a Genesis and I believe a Saturn and a Dreamcast.
That's cool.
Well, I don't know if they wear them as backpacks or something like that. But.
So you're saying I should go ahead and pre-order this now.
You should pre-order it stat. There's also there's like a special edition version that has some Ichiban stuff in it. I don't know if it's like costumes and things like that, but you can get some Yakuza themed goodies as well. So
cool,
might be worth looking at.
Maybe
comes out. Like I said, I think it comes out tomorrow. So I'm waiting for that.
And it's only $15.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
I think the special edition version's like 35, maybe.
Okay.
But
cool.
But yeah, so I'm really digging the Steam Deck.
It's a great system.
It really is.
It's really good.
Oh my goodness. No, the like the PlayStation Portal is great.
Yeah.
But you can get the lag. Because it's all
a little
streaming.
bit of lag, yeah. Yeah,
it's all streaming and stuff. Like when I was trying to play the new Sonic game? Sonic.
Oh, well, that's your... Yeah, of course.
I know, but, you try to play that through the portal, it's not going to work.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
That Steam Deck is going to be perfectly fine.
It's great. It's a great little system.
Yeah.
And I hook it up to the TV using the dock and use a Bluetooth controller, just an Xbox controller, to play on the TV.
Yeah, see, I did get the dock as well.
I like having the dock.
I haven't messed with the dock yet, though.
It's very nice.
I've just been too busy playing it handheld, so
I see.
But yeah,
great system.
It is good stuff. So, hooray for that! Hooray for Steam Deck. But that's bulk of what I've been doing this week.
Okay.
Is just messing with that.
All right. Well, I've been playing Steam Deck too.
Oh,
the sequel?
You know, I just bought the first one.
Oh, Phil, you invested at the wrong time.
Just wait for them to release another one.
Let me dig up the receipt.
No, I brought my Steam Deck with me to Vancouver and ended up playing a bunch of Sea of Thieves and Void Crew.
Good Lord.
With Mike.
You drove to Vancouver to play Sea of Thieves on Steam Deck. Now I regret lending my Steam Deck to Mike.
Well, he wasn't playing on Steam Deck. He was playing on his PC.
Oh, hey, lads.
Yes.
So you guys both have the Steam Decks, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much of the memory do you have in yours? Did you get
no idea.
The terabyte one?
I have the terabyte one.
Okay. Because it also you can plug in a micro SD card as well.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Do you have one of those installed?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I've heard you can do that.
You can do it.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if you had done so and
no.
Okay, well then never mind.
Okay.
I'll look elsewhere for advice on what micro SD card.
Maybe there's a Steam Deck channel or a thread on our Discord. You should go in there, wander in there and ask your questions.
I suppose.
You could do that.
A lot of work.
That really does.
But anyway, we played Sea of Thieves and Void Crew. I was playing on the Steam Deck. Void Crew, I'm normally a gunner in Void Crew. And when I'm at home, I use a trackpad and I play via like GeForce Now because you need like pretty precise control. And playing on the Steam Deck with the analog sticks wasn't working too well. So I changed it. I modified the control, which is something I really like about the Steam Deck. You can customize the trackpads to be whatever sort of function you want them to be. So I had the right trackpad doing the aiming, and I had to change the sensitivity of the trackpad and change some of the options there. They have a trackball option on the trackpad, by the way. It's really awesome for games that use a trackball, which I haven't tried. But and then I changed the left trackpad to, if I'm pressing the top of the trackpad, it aims down sights. And then if I press the bottom of the trackpad, in Void Crew, you have a gun that's above the ship and below the ship. So if I tap the bottom part of the trackpad, it switches to whichever gun is being used. So, and that's something that is like, I could only do that sort of thing on Steam Deck, right? Customize that trackpad. So, pretty cool to be able to like switch between basically mouse and keyboard functions and controller functions, because I like playing with the controller on most, like wandering around the ship, or if we have to go outside the ship or anything like that, then controller is better for that. But using the gunner, I can now use the trackpad. Not well. I mean, I'm not good at aiming with the trackpad on the Steam Deck, but I got to a point where I almost had it customized where it was perfect. And then Mike got sick of me missing my shots, and we stopped playing Void Crew. But anyway, I also played Utopia Must Fall on Steam Deck. This is a game from a dev that I worked with at Adult Swim, Pixel Jam. They did Dino Crisis, or not Dino Crisis. What was it called?
Capcom game.
Dino Run. Sorry, Dino Run.
That's not Dino Crisis.
And then they did a bunch of games for us at Adult Swim, including Pizza City and Mountain Maniac, and a bunch of like really fun pixel art games. And this release is from them and I believe some other dev as well. But it's a mix of Missile Command, Tempest, and Geometry Wars. So all three sort of games that are like classic arcade games that I really like. And the basic thing is you are controlling this turret that is defending this city from alien invaders coming down. And you have 3 nukes, which are like your missile command thing. You can shoot them and a big explosion happens and takes out anything that touches it. But the main gun that you have is this auto-firing cannon that you use to almost sort of Galaga-like or Geometry Wars, take out the enemies one by one. And it's a roguelike. So after each round, it gives you a list of like 3 or 4 upgrades that you can do to your city. So you get like increased fire rate or more nukes, or you can get like a supplemental laser to take out enemies with. And I wanted to play this on Steam Deck so bad, and it was Steam Deck verified. And every time I loaded it up, the controls just would not work. I was like, what the hell is happening here? Turns out you have to customize it so that it's using mouse only, because it's a mouse only game on PC. So you use the trackpad to aim and then the 2 triggers to shoot your nukes. And it works really, really well on the Steam Deck. Really great game. Tons of just like retro vibes out the wazoo. And it's super fun. Super good looking on the OLED screen too. It looks great. And it's not expensive. It's like $6, something like that. So Phil, if you want a good game on the Steam Deck OLED that uses the trackpad in a really nice way, I think you'll like Utopia Must Fall from Pixel Jam.
Utopia
Must Fall. Yeah.
And this is a Dino Crisis game?
No. You didn't pay attention to anything that I said.
The Turok game.
As soon as I heard Dino Crisis, I was like, oh, I'm in.
Ooh, Dino Crisis. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Dino Run. Old Flash game, if you remember
this
it.
game is, what, $6?
That's what I said.
CJ just said.
I just said $6. It's really good. It's in early access right now, but totally worth it.
Okay.
I also started playing Mika and the Witch's Mountain. This is a game you
Hatsune Mika
might also like, Phil. It is a sort of like a Kiki's Delivery Service style game. Very cute, cartoony graphics. You are a little witch. You have been assigned by your sort of witchy teacher to learn how to fly back up the mountain. And in order to do so, you land on this island, your broom breaks, and to fix it up and to actually fly back to meet your teacher, you have to deliver items around the island. And you sort of auto hover in the air, and you can like ride on wind currents, and the island has a bunch of very eclectic inhabitants, and it's a fun little game. I've only just started playing it, but it feels pretty good. On Steam Deck, I believe there's a demo of this as well. I played a demo of it during Steam Next Fest. I think they still have it up, but fantastic game. Yeah, Mika.
Let's see here.
And the Witch's Mountain.
Mika, adding to wish list.
Mika. Yeah.
There we go.
It was on sale quite recently. It may still be on sale.
And let's see. And the other one.
We're just gonna watch you add things to wish list.
Dino Crisis?
No, Utopia Must Fall
is what this one's called.
Utopia Must Fall. All right, the last game that I want to talk about here is Freedom Wars Remastered. Anybody?
This is the new Freedom Wars game.
You recognize the name?
No.
This Freedom Wars was originally a game that came out on Vita. The all-popular Sony handheld Vita.
Now I remember the name.
This is a game by Bandai Namco, and it is sort of a cross between Monster Hunter and Phantasy Star Online. Has very like futuristic vibes in the weaponry and the sort of enemies that you're up against, but it is Monster Hunter-y in that you sort of undertake missions, and the goal is to like take out giant robots who have imprisoned citizens, and you have to rescue them, bring them to safety. You, of course, have been jailed for being a layabout, and you've been sentenced to 1,000,000 years in prison. And to reduce your sentence, you can undertake these missions to save people who are actual citizens. And
you were jailed for being
lazy. Yeah.
You were banished because you were clumsy.
That's right. Yeah. And
seems harsh.
It's pretty harsh, but it's got some funny moments in it. Like you're in your prison cell and the game wants you to like get up and move around, and you get given another 20 years in prison for walking more than 5 steps. Yeah.
So wait,
it's pretty interesting.
They throw you in jail for being lazy, but then if you start moving around, they increase your sentence?
Yep.
What do they want from you?
They want you to do their dirty work and
move around more. No, not like that.
Not like that. Exactly. But it's really fun on the Steam Deck because it was originally a Vita game. So all the UI and everything is nice and big. Although it does say that it's not fully verified because there's some small text. I believe it's just the EULA or like the privacy policy where the text is too small. Everything else is perfectly fine. But yeah, you can do some fun stuff. Like you have a grapple gun where you can grapple up onto walls and onto monsters and knock pieces off of them. That is kind of a Monster Hunter style thing there. But yeah, it's got online multiplayer. I believe it's cross-platform. Pretty cool little game. And the graphics are improved, but it looks great on the Steam Deck. So I'm quite enjoying that as well.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the reviews for it on Steam.
Yeah.
Someone gave it a thumbs down. They have 61 hours invested into it.
61 hours, thumbs down.
Which it seems like.
I love that. Yeah.
You're doing this to yourself, friend.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wish I could get a refund, but I've already spent 61 hours playing
There are
this.
the reviews I'm looking at, though, are mostly positive. I'm just pointing out the ridiculousness of someone sticking with a game that they apparently don't like.
Yeah.
For nearly 3 days straight.
Yeah, it is it's a lot of fun. I'm having fun with it. I kind of needed something like this to tide me over between releases, so I'm adding to my backlog with Freedom Wars Remastered. All right, Greg.
Hi.
What you got for us?
I finished Quiet Place.
Oh,
yeah.
Finally.
Good job.
Nice.
Yeah, it was about 10 hours all told.
Okay.
That was with me wandering around, lost a couple of times. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it, but I just, to repeat that I really enjoyed that a lot. And I didn't, it's weird looking back on it because, I mean, you're moving so slowly through the entire game. You know, I didn't think it's something that would hold my interest, but I really do sort of like the whole idea behind A Quiet Place, that the whole universe that they've built, and the game really perfectly captures it. They actually put you in a situation where you have like the last level is kind of timed, so you can't just move completely slowly through the last area. You have to kind of make use of everything you've learned up to that point. There's a lot of items laying around that you can throw to create sound to cover your movement, and they're like, you have to be careful not to hit. You're trying to get a boat because the creatures can't swim, trying to get on a boat, so you have to be careful not to run through puddles because they make a lot of noise when you splash. And one of the things that you learned too is that the creatures react really strongly to static off of television screens. So there's a few television screens around that you can throw things at and make them burst into static and that sort of thing. But either way, yeah, great game. I really enjoyed it a lot. 10 hours was a really good amount of time. I didn't feel like it was overstaying its welcome. There were a lot of little secrets to find all over the place, which I liked. So you could do a fair amount of exploration, but for the most part, it was just sort of one kind of puzzle area after another, as part of a larger linear world, which speaks to me. That's the kind of thing I like. So yeah, recommended. The other game that I started to play actually 2 weeks ago, but it didn't go very well, is and so I started replaying. I restarted it again this week on my Twitch channel on Thursdays, and it's a Pioneer Laser Active game called Don Quixote, A Dream in Seven Crystals, and this is a full motion video role playing game. So it's not very good.
Did you finally get out of that town?
I did finally make it out of the town. I'm also playing it in Japanese, and I talked about this on Twitch, and I've talked about it on Generation 16. So the Pioneer Laser Active, for those of you who don't know what it is, first of all, you should go find my Pioneer Laser Active video from I think 4 or 5 years ago on my YouTube channel that goes through the history of it, because I'm a little biased, but I think it's one of my best videos.
Greg, as an outside observer, it's a very good video.
Thank you. So the Pioneer Laser Active was a modular system that was released in the mid-90s, back when all these different companies were releasing multimedia systems like Commodore with was it CD32, I think it was called. The 3DO multiplayer, the CDI, the Philips CDI, all that stuff was coming out. And Pioneer released a multimedia video game system based on laser discs. And it was modular in that it had a place where you could insert packs. They were just called packs on the bottom left side, and depending what pack you inserted, it had different capabilities. So there was like a karaoke pack, but there was a PC Engine pack, which when you plugged that in, the system could play cue cards, it could play CD-ROM games, and it could play laser discs that required that pack called LD-ROM, which were unique to that system. And then there was also a Mega Drive / Genesis pack that when you plug that in, you could play the cartridges, you could play Sega / Mega CD games, and you could play Mega LD games, which again were games that were exclusive to that system. Some crossover between the two. And like there were a couple games that you found on other systems, like Blue Chicago Blues was on there, Time Gal, which is super expensive, and Road Avenger, which is called Road Prosecutor on there. I don't know why.
It doesn't have the opening theme song.
No, the opening theme song was a Sega CD thing.
Yes.
It was not in the arcade. So that's all Wolf Team. So I think. Anyway, so Don Quixote. So, going back to what I was about to get to was that there were very few. It was like 24 games released on the thing that were LD games. And most of them, if they were released in multiple regions, are bilingual. They just use different tracks on the disc to run English or Japanese. It was only ever released in Japan and North America. Don Quixote is, I think, the single exception to that rule in the whole library, in that if you have the Japanese version, you only get to play the Japanese version of the game, and vice versa. North American version is the only way you can play it in English. I only own the Japanese version, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, because the English version was a bit more expensive and I couldn't afford it. So I'm kind of suffering my way through this in Japanese, which makes it more difficult. But yeah, it's you're walking around in a first-person perspective, but all of the movement is done via full motion video. So when you push forward, it's just a video loop that plays of a town or of a cave or a forest or something like that. And then you get to places you can explore. Like if you're in a town, you'll go through a door and you'll get a little animated sequence where someone speaks to you. And yeah, it's just one of those games that I've had for a while and kind of just wanted to experience it. Plus, I think it's interesting to stream this on Twitch because literally no one else is streaming this game on Twitch right now. Strangely enough. So,
was there
I'm
even an entry for this game?
There
really?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you look to see if anybody has ever streamed this game?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody has, but
probably.
Anyway, I've been working my way through it. Again, not very good. But the other thing is the the other bonus here is that when I do get around to actually covering it for Generation 16, I will have played it. I'm recording all the footage as I play it. I'm stuck in a cave right now and completely lost. But yeah, it's all full motion video, and the the battles, when you get into them, are just, again, little video clips of each monster that play forward and backwards. So like when you get into a battle, you're actually on the frame, on an attack frame for a monster, which is normally like a stinger or a mouth that's right in the screen or something like that. And then it backs up and it's sitting in the middle of the screen. And when it attacks you, they run the video back in that direction again. So it's like, rah, and then it runs in reverse back to where it was standing. But it's just general turn-based fighting. Yeah, it's very basic. It's so interesting to experience because this system was so expensive when it came out. The base unit was like $970 US.
Ooh.
And that was without the ability to play games. You needed to buy one of the packs to play the games, which were $500 or $600 a piece. So like you were into it for a good $1,500, $1,600 US in 1997.
Ooh.
And then the games were like $120 a piece because laser discs, I guess. So like I think on my show I figured it out that if you got like the system, both packs, and a game, and adjusted for inflation to 2023, I think, or 2022 when I released the video, it was something like a little over $5,000. And the games were generally not good quality, and this definitely fits that mold. But it is interesting to see because I have a real fascination for multimedia gaming in the mid 90s because, you know, the full motion video game craze. I didn't subscribe to the idea that full motion video games were the future, but I did think they were really fascinating. And I think some of them are a lot of fun. And on a higher level, I've always been interested to see how different developers approached incorporating full motion video into video games, especially into classic genres. And this is a good example of that. It's not done well, but it is unique. And what I find really interesting is that it's fully animated, and like it has an opening cutscene that's fully animated, but every now and then it'll switch to like stock footage of like I assume a Spanish town. Yeah. And then you're into like anime again. It's really, really bizarre. Awesome. But yeah, I've been playing it on Thursday nights, and I'm going to continue to play it on Thursday nights until hopefully I beat it. So in Japanese. So yeah, you should come out and see it, Twitch TV/Stuart. But that's the only new thing I was playing this week.
Alrighty. I guess that's it for what you've been playing.
I think so.
Guess that means it's time for tweets.
A tweet.
Let's do this one from listener Steven, who asks, is there a genre of games that you've only started enjoying as you've gotten slightly older? I never entertained single-player first-person shooter campaigns when I was younger, but really enjoy them now, probably because I can't devote hundreds of hours to JRPGs anymore.
I feel like if anything, it's gone the other direction for me. I feel like there are genres I used to play that I don't anymore, kind of for the or don't play as often anymore, kind of for the same reason. Like there was a time when
fighting games, sports games,
fighting games, big time. RPGs. I still play the odd ones, and I have played a fair amount of them over the last couple of years. But there was a time when that was what I played. Yeah. RPGs, like that was the genre I played the most of. And now
why do you think you dropped out of it? Why?
It's the amount of time most of them require to, I don't, it's not, I don't want to say I don't have the time because that's not exactly right. I could make the time, but I have trouble dedicating such a large chunk of what I view as pretty precious free time to one game.
Yeah,
that's the problem. And I don't like starting a lot of games and not finishing them. That's not my style. That's CJ's thing.
That's my style.
So
yeah.
Which is like we were saying earlier, which is why hearing that Expedition 33 is supposed to be about like a 30-hour game. That's awesome. That makes me so happy.
Great news.
It makes me feel like I will actually play it. You know, because that was my biggest concern is that it's got 100 hours of gameplay, and it was like I just nope out completely on that one.
Yeah,
but
here was it's funny you say that about that. Ubisoft, you know, they delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then like I think last week they said there's an exploration trailer, and they went to great lengths to say this isn't just gonna be like a thing on a map like game, like we'll let you explore. And the thing about it, like immediately when I heard that quote, or I'm paraphrasing the quote, I don't remember, but when I saw that, I was like, that's probably not what I want either, because if you give me just an open world and I have to find my own shit to do in it, I'll just stop playing.
Yeah.
Like I don't want that either. Just at this point, I almost want a linear experience. So I am hoping that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is that, because I'm very excited about that game now, and it comes out in April. My gosh, it's so close. It'll be out before Switch 2, probably. Anyway.
Yeah.
I can't think. I mean, I can think of genres that I don't play anymore. Like
I don't know. When it comes to you, CJ.
What are you talking about?
I feel like you play a lot of genres you didn't used to play. You've become
like what?
You've become pretty into online gaming that you didn't used to be.
I've always been in online gaming.
He really, I mean,
CJ was Speed Devils Online, Quake 3 Arena,
PSO,
yeah.
Weren't you into like one of those like Tom Clancy shooters back in the day?
Yes, Rainbow Six.
Yeah,
I was huge into. At a certain point, Phil, when we were living together in San Francisco, I had my Xbox set up as a server for Rainbow Six.
I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
So, I've always played those games. I love online gaming, and always have. And maybe I'm playing more of them now.
You're just playing Sea of Thieves.
And also I think that too. It's different genres in that, and I play more obscure online games, perhaps like Killer Clowns from Outer Space or Friday the 13th.
Concord.
Oh yeah. For Concord. For Concord. Yeah.
Wait, it's Concord?
Concord.
I've been saying Crandall all this time.
That's right. I wore my Concord shirt in Vancouver. Represent. Gotta represent.
You're ruining its value.
I was gonna say.
I am, but I don't care. There's no value to that shirt. Come on. The logo is so tiny. It's like I'm wearing a necklace that has it as the chain on a chain or something. Anyway. I can't devote hundreds of hours to JRPGs either. Although, if the right game shows up, I will definitely devote hundreds of hours to it. As
tell that to Ichiban.
Tell that to Ichiban, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this one from.
I guess I won't answer that one.
Phil,
Moving on.
Don't answer that one. What, Phil? Answer, please. Give us your answer.
I don't really have an answer.
Please tell us.
Well, the one I was thinking of, because I still kind of play the same type of games. The only one that genre that I've really sort of gotten more into is I play a lot. I enjoy a lot of the roguelite games.
Actually,
your Dead Cells, your Rogue Legacies and such. I mean, mainly those two, but still, I'm very into those games. But I don't know if that's so much a product of me getting into those sort of things in recent years, or just that genre kind of becoming more of a thing in recent years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, certainly there have been like roguelike games
forever.
The mystery dungeons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I have enjoyed some of those, but the more kind of action rogue light type experiences, certainly seem to have sort of caught on more in recent years. So
yes,
I guess I'll say roguelites with an asterisk.
The Gall?
The same.
Okay. Let's do this one from hacker alias Cheap Cheapo, who says, I also share my love of Survivor like CJ does. Yes. And listen to the On Fire podcast after every new episode. That's the official Survivor podcast with Jeff Probst.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Do any of you listen to podcasts for the things you like that aren't video games? By the way, recently there's a Severance podcast with Ben Stiller and Adam Scott that I want to listen to. They did a rewatch, apparently, or they're doing a rewatch of the first season, and then delving into the second season. So I need to watch that. But I used to listen to the Lost podcast when Lost was running. That was fun.
I listened to the Odd F1 podcast and 60 songs that explain the 90s. I'm still pretty into that show. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts outside of like those two, and I don't even listen to the F1 podcast very much anymore. I listen to Here's My Question for You, which is technically gaming based. It's two gaming YouTubers anyway. And Gamer Looks at 40. That's about it.
I mean, yeah, I will typically, like, if I listen to any podcast, it's usually like the Pendulettes podcast, and then of course the Ice Cream Social with our buddies Matt and Mattingly and Jacob.
But anything that you're into that you listen to a podcast about that's not video games, like Star Trek or movie, like any movie series, or
I don't.
Action figures, toy podcasts? No, you don't.
I don't. There are a couple YouTubers. I'll watch a couple. There's a couple toy YouTubers that I will watch.
Yeah.
But no podcasts.
I see.
Sorry.
I was listening to a Silo podcast during the first season of that. I listened to a What We Do in the Shadows podcast that was pretty fun.
No.
If I really like a TV show, I'll listen to the podcast. I used to listen to Office Ladies, the Office Ladies podcast with Jenna Fisher and Angela Hamilton. Yeah. So
sweet.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, actually.
Yeah,
apparently.
That is clear.
Yeah.
Video games and otherwise. Yeah. All right, let's do this one. From what time is it? Oh shit, we're over time. But we'll do this one anyway. From hacker alias Night Attack, who says, I picked up a new arcade system, Iconic Arcade, on clearance for just $250. It's a Raspberry Pi machine. So what are some quintessential arcade machines, or arcade games, especially school age appropriate ones?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The Simpsons.
Narc.
Kung Fu Narc.
Smash TV.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2.
Newman Athletics.
Pac-Man.
Jungle King.
Pac-Man. Yeah.
Jungle Hunt.
Robotron.
RoboCop.
Now we're just naming
good games.
We are naming good games. True. Super Mario Brothers Versus.
Well, those are just Nintendo games. Now you're just naming Nintendo games.
Yeah, you're right. Donkey Kong.
Arcade game.
Donkey Kong.
I know it was an arcade game.
Yeah.
We're not doing the pre-order bonus one. It was on our Discord.
What pre-order bonus one? What?
Discord?
What are you talking about?
In the Player One Discord,
yeah,
we have an Ask P1P board there.
Yeah.
And hacker alias John Phil Mitch asks, what's our favorite pre-order bonus item?
Oh, you wanted, okay, we're extending
That seemed like a good one. That was a good question.
You're right. That is a good one. All right.
I still have a lot from my game. This is the question continuing. I still have a lot from my GameStop/EB days, including this cute Poogie plush from a PSP Monster Hunter.
Oh, I saw this question.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Favorite pre-order
Getting
bonus
thanked
item
in the chat.
There you go. I didn't know what you were talking about, Phil.
Well, maybe
now
you should follow our Discord.
We're already on to the next question. I thought we were in the middle of the arcade games one, but we're done with that. Super Baseball 2020.
We could list off a bunch more arcade games.
Yeah.
we could stand
Cyber Lip. Viewpoint.
Have you ever actually played Cyber Lip?
No, I haven't.
You know what? Cyber Lip is a fun game.
Is it?
I like to bring up, whenever there's a Neo Geo discussion, I will always bring up Cyber Lip because no one remembers Cyber Lip and it has a funny name. But Cyber Lip is actually a pretty fun little game.
Okay.
It's like a Contra type thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Pre-order bonuses. I like anything that came with the soundtrack when you pre-ordered it. So like Symphony of the Night had a pre-order bonus that was a soundtrack. I love that.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
The Galleon punching puppet.
Galleon punching puppet.
Phil's about to show it to us.
Definitely has right there. That's fantastic.
There it is.
Yep.
Still in the box. Actually, this one, the box is a little bent up from being stored for many years.
There you go.
I actually have a couple of these.
Of course you do.
I was at Babbage's at the time, and we had some leftover ones. And what are you going to do with them?
Throw them out.
The employees get to take them. So
there you go.
Hooray for that! It was. Look at that though. That's a big.
That was, of course, a pre-order bonus for Lunar Silver Star Complete.
Yes, the PlayStation version. This promotional item is not for resale, according to the.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this! They even have on the back. I forgot about this. They have the prototype
of the Alex
puppet that I believe was never actually produced, right?
I think there might have been a couple around. I want to say some game journalists probably have them.
Okay,
but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, there you go. Look at all this text on the back here. There's like a full story.
Designs, man,
on the back here. They went all out. Oh my goodness, not a pre-order bonus, but I do have a couple
Urban Yeti
glow in the dark frisbees here from back in the day.
Wow.
You know what? It's another good pre-order bonus was the Wind Waker one.
What was the Wind Waker pre-order bonus?
The GameCube Wind Waker.
Oh, the disc
You got a separate disc.
Oh, like the
for your GameCube.
Quest?
What's that?
Was that no, never mind. I'm thinking something else.
Wait, what were you thinking?
No, you were correct.
Disc.
Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest. Yeah.
It had both of the, because the Ocarina of Time GameCube port, and then the Master Quest wasn't it like a 64 D or
it was planned for that. Yeah, it was originally planned for that. I don't think it ever released.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it did release.
It did.
If you pre-ordered Wind Waker on your GameCube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I don't have too many pre-order bonus items.
No, I can't think of many of them
that I've kept around. So yeah.
Okay.
But there's some good ones.
Those some good ones. Yeah.
Those are good ones.
The Galleon puppet, I think, is a big.
Galleon puppet's great.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
How do I start this?
Wow.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for joining us.
All of the consonants and vowels were wrong.
And listening. Yeah.
They were the correct ones. They were just in the wrong order.
Yeah,
wrong order.
Wrong order.
Wrong order. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Blue Skies or the Threads. And if you want to contact us in any other way, go to the internet website, player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward. You'll find Generation 16 episodes there as they happen. You'll find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about during the show. And a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by loading up your favorite podcast listening app. We're also on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch video archives of our show, or you can watch those on the youtubes.com/P1 Podcast, or watch us live most weeks on the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitch, televisions, all over the darn place. Follow one of our many social media accounts to find out when we're doing our next live show. Typically, it is Sunday evenings at 5:30 specific time. So join us, won't you? And I'll tell you what, if you like what you've heard, and how could you, head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. We need to get Greg a copy of Time Gal for the Laser Active.
Oh my God.
There's only one way we can do it.
Whoa.
And then with your help, dear listeners.
Yeah.
How much is a Time Gal going for these days?
Several thousand?
A little over 5,000.
Little over 5,000, folks. You can make that happen. Surely,
I'm not going to authorize that.
a worthier cause could not be found than to let Greg experience Time Gal in its full Laserdisc glory. Or we could just get him that import version that came out on the Switch. I have that. I own that game on the Nintendo Switch, Greg.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Of course, what we will actually use your funds for is keep the show streaming and all that stuff. So we appreciate it. We thank you for it. And I'll tell you what, friendos, if you are a Patreon supporter of the $5 tier,
cheap,
you gain special access to a weekly bonus episode. We record it right after this, where we play games, have fun doing all the stuff. Oh, we crack wise too.
Oh yeah, of course.
Don't forget that.
That's maybe the most important thing.
We're not just having fun. We're cracking wise the whole time. Doing that stuff we can't do on the regular show. CJ.
Yeah.
Do we have a game this week?
We do have a game.
What is this game of yours?
This game is from listener Adrian, not my ex-wife. Different spelling.
That is exactly where my mind went. I
figured that it would be.
Yeah.
No, this one is to celebrate.
It's nice that she's still listening to the show.
Yeah. And sending in quizzes, clearly.
Very active participant.
Celebrate 8 years of the Nintendo Switch with a quiz.
Oh.
They named the game. We have to figure out the year that it released on Switch.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
We lose.
That's
Spoiler
not
warning.
Be good.
Yeah, the Switch came out
we're going to do poorly.
2017. Now it is 2025. That's 8 years of Switch.
Oh gosh. I'm terrible at that sort of thing.
Me too.
This is
we'll work together.
Before.
We'll work together.
Will this be?
We'll see how it goes.
Will this be the first quiz where we get every answer wrong?
No, because one of them's got to be Breath of the Wild, and we already know that's going to be 2017.
What year did that come out? Oh, okay. Now we know.
What year did that come out? What?
I would not have known that.
Launch game.
No, I would not have guessed it.
2017.
Is 2017 the year the Switch came out?
Yes.
See, I don't even know that.
I didn't even know that.
Animal Crossing 2020 pandemic.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ring Fit Adventure, probably 2019. I think.
Okay. Let's wait for the after show.
We'll wait for it. We won't give it all away in the regular show.
Well, join us for that.
That's our quiz.
Let's see how that goes.
Switch. Yeah.
And tell you what, if you have a couple bucks left over, why don't you go to patreon.com/Greg Seward to help support Greg's outstanding, and it is outstanding, web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you, Philip. And if you are a supporter of the $3 variety,
also cheap.
Thank you, Satan.
You're welcome.
Do you have a galleon punching puppet?
I have a galleon punching puppet perched delicately on a part of my body right now.
That's
and if I look at it, if I flex, just look, he's punching. Ooh, there he goes. Punch, punch. It's all in the mind. If the mind was my junk. Do you like that, Greg?
You get early access to each one of my new videos.
Greg really liked it.
And why shouldn't he? It's magnificent.
And you should head over to the YouTube channel right now and youtube.com/Suette and check out the games I completed in 2024. Lots of good stuff on there.
Lots of good is in the show notes as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Greg, that's wonderful.
Thanks, Phil.
Absolutely. Is that it then?
Yep.
CJ!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Duh, of course. Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you as well.
Thank you, Philip.
And as always, thank you. Yes, you are wonderful, wonderful listeners, every single darn one of you. As always, please take care of yourself, your loved ones, your family, your friends. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. Get yourself a galleon puppet. And we'll see you next week.
Beat things with it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.